welcome to another amazing episode of Talkers vs. Duel, the mental game series. So, I am so excited to be on here today. I have another amazing guest, and it's always amazing when she a Sora. So, shout out to them Deltas. Yes, we're gonna represent and also always uplifting and empowering each other and being there for each other. Nothing like it. So no further ado, I'm gonna let you come in, Miss Rounds, and just tell just a snippet about yourself and what you currently do.
Oh, okay. Well, first, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be on the show.
Yeah.
So my name is Tanaira Rounds. I am a South Central Los Angeles native. I make sure I always say South Central because it made me who I was or who I am.
Definitely.
Um, and I am currently the director of Intercollegiate Academic Programs and Recruiting
Mhm.
at Talladega College. So
Okay.
yeah,
I love
Talladega is
it.
a small
I love
town
it.
right here.
In Talladega.
Yes, Talladega is about. Even though we were here before the Speedway, but we are in that same town.
Mhm.
NASCAR, Ricky Bobby. That's how I was
Yeah.
let everybody know. But that's where Talladega College is.
Okay. We are doing a recording, so it's totally fine. So what's happening is it's going, but like with just see your internet
It's
connection. How
stopping.
your internet connection good
Let's.
on your phone? Because you're
No.
able to talk, but
Let's
as
see.
you're
It
moving,
got off the Wi-Fi.
okay,
I got off the Wi-Fi. My bad.
it's
I was
fine.
telling it in the house to get off, but I got off.
She said I told everybody else to
I
get
was
up.
like, everybody get off.
Everybody
Yeah,
off
I'm like
the
everybody
line.
get off. Right, because my sister is here from college and my boyfriend's here, and my Wi-Fi is built for one.
Yeah.
It ain't built for a whole bunch of people, so I told her to
Hey,
get
I
off. So
understand.
it should be fine. It should
The
be fine
same
now.
over here. So yeah, we're seeing just I'm trying to see first if it catch up. Because like I said, you're
Okay.
speaking, and as you're speaking, is waiting to do like
The movement.
every
Okay.
yeah. Let's see if it's
Let's
doing
see
it
if it's
now.
working now. I'm gonna talk. Is it messing up? Is it
Yeah,
going? I'm
it's still
losing.
because it's just like it's like a robot, and we can't have you. I'm not gonna have you. They
Nah,
like no slip game. Yeah.
nah. Let me see. It say it's full connection now though. So I don't know.
Okay. Now doing it looks a little okay. Now it's looking better on that part. I think right there.
Okay.
Okay. So just talk. How you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I am grand.
Okay, yeah. It now it's
Okay.
much better. It's much
Okay.
better
It's like
on
mic
that.
check 1 2 1
Yeah,
2.
yeah. I
Okay.
guess I should have said mic check. I love it. I love it.
Right.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna do another intro because
Okay.
I'm just gonna cut everything and then we go back in.
Okay.
Excuse me, but I gotta most definitely I gotta make sure that everything is good on your end. Like we ain't finna play them guys. Okay, so if you are ready,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fabulous, Queen. You know we come through. We gotta come through. Yes,
Yes.
honey. So I'm gonna count down on 1, 2, 3. Hello, you guys, and welcome to another episode of what the Mental Game series. Yes, I am so excited to be here today. I have another amazing guest, and it's always amazing when she's Sora. So look, I gotta start that over because I say on a
Right.
minutes.
You
I'm
said
going.
right.
Hold on. I'm like, look.
You try to think of everything you said already. I'm like, she tried to think of everything she said.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I'm playing it back in from it. So I'm gonna start over again. 1, 2, 3, dropping down. 3, 2, 1. Well, hey, you guys, and welcome to another amazing episode of the Mental Game series. And I am so excited. We have this amazing guest, and not only is she amazing because she a guest, but she a Sora. So shout out to the Deltas.
Ooh, ooh.
Always, we're always here uplifting, encouraging, and pushing each other. So That's the dynamic about being a Delta. But back to the episode. Yes, we have you on here, the Mental Games, Miss Rounds. How are you feeling?
I am excited to be on your show. Not gonna lie. So I don't know.
Awesome. Love it. And jumping right into it because a lot of people don't know, but South Central. Tell me a little bit about that. That's your background, where you from. Kind of give the people a little information about that.
Yes, South Central, born and raised. I actually was raised in the house 3 houses down from where my dad was raised. So my dad had always been on the same street, all that his whole life. So that's the street I grew up on. To me, South Central was home. Of course, like just to give you a little, like we live maybe 2 minutes from the Rodney King riots, about 5-10 minutes from the Watts Towers.
Oh, wow.
So all that is super near and dear to me, but it is the hood at the end of the day.
Mhm.
I grew up with 5 sisters, my mom, my dad, and a lot of pit bulls, a lot of, you know, and then
So
my
you from the background of it, the hard not of it.
yeah,
Yes,
for
sis,
sure,
on
for
it.
sure.
So how would you say, since we're there, it shaped you to the woman that you is now? Because we're talking about the hard not life. How did that help you and push you and some of the obstacles just growing up in that area?
For me, my parents always worked super hard. When I tell you, like both having 2 jobs, again, it's 6 girls, keeping us out of the out of the streets and keeping us just kind of focused. We were always in sports. My parents made sure we were in like the best schools. She made sure all our schools had like black principals, black teachers. All my doctors growing up were either women or African American. Like my parents made it super important for them to make sure we had those people in front of us because we might not get to see those people next door to us. You know what I'm saying? Like we want
Right.
to make sure we always have positive people around us. Um, I get to say like I saw black women running business and do all these because my mom always made sure we was in front of those type of people.
I love it.
Um, it was cool. Like I said, it made us have tough skin. Like we grew up basketball, playing at the park. Like we had the public swimming pools and stuff like that. So I feel like it made us a little tougher, and it
Okay.
also showed us like South Central is a little different because, like, again, we are exposed to a lot of things because we are only 10 minutes or 15 minutes from the beach and, for just a bus ride to Hollywood. So we were able to get exposed
Mhm.
to a lot of things while seeing, like, oh, this is where we at. And Beverly Hills, right down there, like, I had to take classes at UCLA in high school. So
Oh, wow.
I get to, yeah. So I was a real nerd and stuff. So we'll get to that. But, so having to go and bus on the weekends to do those things, I got to firsthand see like, oh no, okay, I'm cool where I'm at now. We living, we
Mhm.
living, we trying to make it out here. But I saw something like right
So
next door
much
that I can
more.
get.
Wow.
Yeah, so like we were exposed to something so much. Like, yeah, we might be, hearing gunshots at night, but I know what's out there. So I feel like that was a difference of like growing up in South Central versus in other, low income areas in other places of the country because we were exposed to so much so young,
Yeah,
good and bad, like
I
good and
love
bad.
that. No,
So
and
yeah.
it's needed. Sometimes, people try to limit their youth and their children from knowing about the bad and seeing the bad,
Hmm.
but they need a piece of that to actually grow and understand. Like you said, you was right next door, and you was able to see these things. So being next door, you are now a director. So tell people more about that, how being able to touch of what you actually do. Give the people the thing of what you do now as a director.
Okay, so now I am the director of intercollegiate academic programs and recruiting at Talladega College. It's a small HBCU in Talladega, Alabama.
Mhm.
Um, for me, it's a lot for me only because I got my undergrad from Talladega and I also just got my master's 2 weeks ago from Talladega as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes,
It's
you
actually just
did.
came in the mail. It came in the mail today, so I super excited. But
Yes.
but for me, it was really big. I knew I wanted to go to HBCU. Being in California, we don't have that kind of exposure. Like, so we thinking we have to go to a PWR. That's kind of what we're taught.
Yeah.
So growing up and being able to go and to attend the HBCU and then be able to work and help the students that from the, like, I was in their shoes. I was literally in their shoes because I went, I
Wow.
worked on campus. I was a student athlete. I played volleyball. So now I always tell people, like, again, I coached at Talladega. They gave me so many opportunities, but
Love
for
it.
this role in particular, it's been really interesting because even though I was an athlete, I always knew I was more than an athlete. Like,
Mhm.
for me, volleyball is what pays the bills. It's what got me my degree. But I knew eventually it was gonna stop.
More
So
than an
I always
athlete.
was
I
in,
love
like,
it.
yeah. I was always in, like, the chess club. I was always I was in the poetry club. I was in NAACP. So I was in other things. And I try to tell my students right now, like, hey, especially my athletes, hey, you're more than an athlete. You have different likes and different wants and um, different passions that you can hone into and make it, part of your resume. Make it up, like, even if it's just a network, even if it's just to, hey, I want to have something that's mine outside of whatever else. So,
Yeah.
some of the
I
major
guess
programs.
no, I'm sorry. I guess with saying that, because you're saying athletes and having them tone into something else, can you kind of give more detail of what that
Hmm.
is to do as intercollegiate? Because even though I'm looking at it and going to college, you guys know collegiate player, I'm used to intercollegiate like the basketball games, when
Yes,
we get together.
yes,
So you kind
yes,
of define that more for people to give them understanding. Because I was,
yes.
look, I detail you guys. I look up at the information. I'm like, oh shit, what?
Yeah. So for us, it's a little different. So intercollegiate is usually talked about in athletics because intercollegiate is just the competition between colleges. That's all intercollegiate means. So that's why it says intercollegiate. So I'm intercollegiate academics. So for instance, one of the bigger things we do now, and I'm super excited about, it's like my favorite thing, even though I'm not good at it, is esports, which is pretty much video games.
Okay.
So we, just to shout out my Rocket League team, we are A1. Come get some
Look,
of us.
she's coming
You
with it.
know?
Y'all, when y'all hit this, make sure y'all hit Talladega. She's coming with it. She letting y'all know.
Yeah, so for instance, I'm over esports, chess, speech and debate, model UN,
Wow.
the different quiz bowls teams, choir falls under me, the NASA program, cybersecurity league. We teach people how to code, how to hack,
Oh wow.
just all the things where you can compete. Like, every student has the yearning to compete. Everyone's
Mhm.
competitive, and if they're not, I don't know. I am. I don't care what we playing. If we playing
Period.
spades, if we playing chess, if we playing what, I want to win. So I just come with that motivation for our kids. There's a lot of students who love to compete, but can't necessarily dribble a ball or aren't the fastest person in the world. So I know they have the opportunity to compete when it comes to using their mind.
Wow.
So that's what
Yeah.
all of my programs and teams are under. It's just academic teams, is what really it is. Like, ways to compete using your brain.
No, I love it. I love it because,
Yeah.
as you know, me, being out, I do speaking engagements precisely with female athletes. But when it comes to
Mhm.
mental health and mindset, that is my, niche and area that I do. And I always tell when I'm speaking, because people are like, I want you to come speak to the football and basketball. I'm like,
Mhm.
athletes are more than just the sports. The athletes are the band, they're the chess club, they the beta club, they're the
Yeah.
SGA. It's so much more. And now you bring it to fruition. And that's when it goes with your research and what you do too. Even though I played sports, I knew as a sports player, I was in so much other stuff. And I knew it still
Mhm.
took that mindset, the discipline, staying out the school, being in the SGA, graduating, top of my classes and stuff. I knew it still took that. And some people take that away. Girl, yes, boo-boo, we gonna
Yeah.
look, we gonna floss ours.
Right.
But it was the fact that I know other students that was just like, I'm just as good. And as I
Mhm.
work in the school system now, my band students are like, you know what, Coach Perry? We do a lot and people omit them. So I see
Band
them all
don't
the time.
play. Band is a
Yes,
whole different level of discipline now.
right. I love
Yeah.
it. So thank you for clarifying that, but also making it more understanding that you guys, that just because you don't dribble a ball, like she said, or you don't throw a football or kick a ball, doesn't mean you're not an athlete. You're still a student athlete that are doing something, because everything take a mental aspect. So thank you for clarity. Thank you for clarifying me and make me even more greater and important in my field.
Yeah. And I'm able to continuously learn more about all these programs and what these kids can do. And so it's just been interesting because like, I'm not a video game person. Never have been. I've always tried, but I don't have very good thumb-eye coordination. And
You
it's
said eye coordination.
you got that right.
Right.
So, but it's
I
just
love
I'm seeing how they communicate with each other, how they have to actually plan out just plan out
it.
like strategically what they're gonna do and communicate during the game and their problem solving skills. I'm like, you know what? That's actually really impressive, especially when we think, oh, it's just easy. And I'm looking, they're putting in hours and hours and hours a day of
Yeah,
just certain games. So I'm like, I mean, it's dedication in itself.
right.
And then of course they all have to have the certain GPAs too. So it's not just like, oh, you're good at it, you can come. It's the
Mhm.
same requirements as if you're a
I
physical
love
athlete. Yeah.
I love it. So thank you for that. Thank you for holding that position down and just uplifting those kids. I love it. And I hear though you did say early that volleyball. So speaking about that, because yeah, you don't have that IQ with that, but you play volleyball in
Mhm.
addition to coaching too. So
Mhm.
kind of give us information about that.
Which was funny with us. We were a basketball family. I played basketball growing up. I knew I was gonna be in the WNBA. I know I was like, no, I was ready.
Right.
I was like, high school freshman on varsity. I'm captain by my sophomore year. So I'm like, basketball is life,
Mm-hmm.
right? Ball was life.
That was
And
me too.
then my older sister actually played for Talladega College too, which is I don't know how Talladega just became part of us like this,
That's
but
part of your family.
so she actually played and won Talladega College their first championship. She got MVP of the tournament. So for me, I'm like, I want to be like my big sister. I want to play basketball. And then my coach was like, hey, y'all all need an off-season sport. I'm on in high school. So I'm like, I'm gonna try out for volleyball because I'm not gonna make it. And then that's gonna, check off my requirement. Well, she
Yeah.
said, yeah, you gotta try out. So I'm like, cool, I'm gonna try out. I ain't gonna make it. Cool. I made it.
See?
And I made it. I'm like, all right, cool. I knew some of the girls. I'm like, all right. And then all of a sudden next year, I'm on varsity. Now I'm dropping AAU ball and I'm playing club volleyball. It's just a slow transition. And now
Wow.
my coach is just like, wait a minute. Like what's
You forgot
happening?
about basketball?
Right. So I was getting a few lower grade offers. When I say lower grade, I don't mean division because I 100% think NIAD to all that is. But I meant like scholarship money wise.
Okay.
I had enough.
Definitely.
Got to clear that up because I am pro NIA,
Hey,
JUCO,
all
whatever.
of it a blessing. Look.
Right. So I just want to clarify that. But some of them are price wise. So some of the schools for basketball, I was getting more scholarship money for academics. So I'm like, I'm gonna wait. I don't know. And then Talladega ended up just it worked out for me. They ended up offering me, so I didn't have to. With my financial aid, all that, I was fine. So I played there. Did that for 4 years. Left at high school and taught high school and coached high school in Louisiana. Um, and then at the pandemic, I'm like, you know what? I need a change of scenery.
Mhm.
Um, I ended up getting a gig at Talladega College.
Love it.
I
No,
was
yeah.
there, right in the pandemic coaches. Shout out to all of us because that was a different level of just anything mentally I
Discipline
had
all
ever done.
around.
It tested my students' discipline, my discipline. It just was so
Right.
much. And
Mhm.
it wasn't something that you can necessarily ask older coaches because they didn't know either. They couldn't give that advice. So we were all kind of figuring out together. Um, I did that. After a year in that, I became the senior women administrator. So I was the SWA as well as the head volleyball coach.
Love.
And then just this past season, I got to get the opportunity to be the director of intercollegiate academics. So I've been in this role since
Mhm.
December, and just in general, I've learned. I feel like my knowledge of my experience and knowledge in athletics, in intercollegiate athletics, is
Mhm.
just helping me more in what I do now because I
I
have
love
that
that.
discipline. I have that understanding of how to get exposure for our kids and those things, how to recruit. I know how to do all these things in a volleyball standpoint. And
Mhm.
now I'm just kind of transitioning over to other things. It's just showing me like it's not just volleyball.
It's so much.
Your skills can switch over wherever you go and whatever you do.
Yes, yes.
So
I
yeah,
love
that's kind of the journey to where I am now.
I know Talladega, like you said, has really became a big part of the family. Most important, I'm learning what I heard, and definitely for my students and young adults that are listening to this. As she said, and many of us, you want to be that next NBA, WNBA star, but sometimes your dreams may deter to something else, but you can still use
Ooh.
them. You was able to still use that, and now she's a director. From going from playing that sport, coaching that sport, and directing. But as you hear though, everything was still discipline of her doing the things that she needed to do. And it had to be not only distant, but being consistent and being a building a positive character. Because Talladega didn't have to reach back out to you. You must came in there, you played a hell of a job at your sport, doing what you had to do, being
Mm-hmm.
respectful, leading, and then they was able to see you to the top. So it's more than just that sport, you guys. That's the thing about this mental game that is so important. It's more and bigger than just basketball, volleyball, all that. This is a life. And really and truly, sports is a part of character that is needed to journey throughout life. They teach you so much, but you have to be willing to learn. And with that being said, because it is the mental game, what was the mindset that you had to have or you had within this last 2 or 3 years through your changing? Like,
When I tell you, so what you, I don't know if you know about that. Also, I was also a mental health specialist in Louisiana for a while. So in my head, I'm like, I have a little knowledge, working with patients for the last 2 years. So I'm thinking I ain't ready for anything, you know. And
right.
I'm like, I know all the coping skills. I know all of this. Life hit me like at the pandemic. Life hit me head on, and I really, for the first time in a long time, I just stepped out in faith. Like I was like, I don't.
Mm,
I moved to Atlanta with my friend. Beginning of pandemic, no job, didn't know what was gonna happen. I was like, I just know I need to change. And when I got the call, I was of course super excited, super nervous.
yeah.
Through it all, I was learning. I never got the opportunity to be an assistant coach at the
Mhm.
collegiate level. So I went from high school straight to college, not being an assistant in a pandemic. So it was a lot of time where I questioned myself so much, like,
Mm,
like I'm away from my family. Being away from my family in college isn't the same as like I'm an adult. You know, um,
mm,
I always kind of moved around, but I had nobody. Like no, so my sisters, none of us was here. So mentally, it took a lot on me. The first season was super hard. Um, it took a while for the girls to adjust me. I had
yeah.
players on my team who were 24, and I was 26,
Right. It's
and I'm
a
like,
big jump. Yeah.
so it was just like it was a lot to adjust to.
Mhm.
I think literally being myself, being transparent. That's one of the biggest things I learned from me was I
Okay.
work well when I'm transparent. Hey y'all, I did this and it didn't work out. My bad. We're gonna do this instead. Hey, I don't know how to do this, so I got this clinic this weekend though, and I'm going to volleyball clinic and I'm gonna do this. Like I know what I know, and it's okay for me. I learned to admit what I truly did not know.
Mm,
Um, I feel like honestly, and I allow myself to experience every emotion: happy, sad, excited, disappointed. I allowed all that, and I feel like that's what helped me through my journey. Just being my true authentic self and letting my players be themselves too. So it was a lot of understanding. They understood. We understood each other a lot. So I feel
I
like
love that part of,
yeah.
like you said, you allowed yourself to feel all the emotions, and a great journey through that was you was authentic and you allowed
Hmm.
your players to be authentic. And with the players being authentic, I know it opened up more. So
Mhm.
what was that of just allowing them to be them helped you out as a coach? Like, what did they give to you allowing them to be authentic?
They were able to. They didn't. I feel like I didn't get lied to as much as other people did because I understood. Because sometimes I'm like, hey, y'all, I am running late for practice straight because I woke up late. I am so sorry, y'all. Instead of making an excuse. So I feel like it became more of a true open
Mhm.
door. And
Come
not
on.
only did it let them feel comfortable with being themselves on the court, we laughing, giggling. They learned, of course, they learned me a little bit more because I'm a true Gemini. I'm a sour patch. I'm happy one day, sad. You know what I'm saying?
Gemini's.
So yes. But I think it allowed us to do that, and even then, it
Mhm.
allowed a lot of them to start to confide in me outside of volleyball. So
Yes.
I'm a true auntie in spirit. So I became like the auntie, the bigger sister. But
Mhm.
not all of them, but a lot of them saw that balance of like when we on the court, that's coach. But they felt safe with me where
I
they was
love
like, hey, I'm going through it, coach. Can we talk? Or
it. Mhm.
hey, and even then we had that some of them like, hey, I need a mental day because I'm going through this. They felt comfortable. I believe they felt comfortable enough to speak with me because we were just honest and open about what was going on in our lives.
No,
Um,
I love
so
it.
yeah.
I love that part because the funny thing is I had a live, what that was Wednesday. And on the live, we was talking about that, and people came on and had a particular young guy that said he played sports, but he fell out of love of it because of the coaches. And we talked about how a coach can change. It can deter you from wanting to do your dream at a young age. People may say, no, a
Mhm.
coach shouldn't. But at that time frame and at that young mind, that coach has a lot of detail with it. And I said, when I was coach, was blessed to coach for over 10 and a half years, girls and boys. And in the midst of that, I still have my young athletes now that'll run through a brick wall for me. I still have now when I come to the game, they're gonna come, they're gonna hug, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And some of their coaches was like, they sure don't do that for me. And I laugh and I smile because I know I'm authentic and I
Mhm.
allow them to be authentic and come to where they knew, yes, Coach Perry on the court, Coach Perry, we hungry. As our thing was,
Mhm.
we coming to eat. We about to eat. But
Mhm.
outside, when we're traveling, hey, I'm laughing, I'm dancing, I'm joking, I'm even cracking
Yeah,
because I'm gonna come for them when it's something silly because I know they coming
for
for me.
sure.
But it was the
Mhm.
fact that we had that relationship and they knew what boundaries that I set. But also, most important, when it comes to the youth, they want that. They want somebody to set boundaries. They want to feel important. They want to know somebody love them, and also
Mhm.
somebody that's going to check on them. So I set those boundaries. They're just so important as a coach that you allow that because kids don't talk about mental. Like you said, someone said, hey, I needed a mental day. And now
Mhm.
that leads up to how important do you think it is to have mental days and to speak about mental health with your teams?
Um, so of course, mental health awareness is really important to me. Of course, struggling with like anxiety and going through depression at some point in my life, it was important for me to open up to them, of course. Understanding that they went through something, college students between 2020 and now have been through experiences that none of us in the world have been through.
Right.
Um, Transitioning from not only either being in college during the pandemic or my more recent players who were in high school, so they actually never got to experience the freeing experiences we did. Um, so that was really big for me to be able to be a part of that. Um, I feel like with mental health now, because it is becoming more talked about. Of course, not where it needs to be. I feel like it was big. It was important for me to. Of course, some people might find it controversial, but like the difference between like have needed mental days or just like you don't have any mental toughness. So having that balance of like, hey, as a black woman, like some of them, I'm not gonna say yes to all of it. You can't.
Right.
Hey, be smart. I'm sorry. We have a game tomorrow. We have this. You can't take that mental day. I'm sorry. We need to push through it. And I would often do like, hey, as a black woman, as a woman of color, some things we have to push through. Not
Yeah.
saying we need to be carrying and letting people beat us up and abusing us, but it's important to know, like, hey, sometimes you're gonna have to stick it up and go through whatever you're going through because you have to. I was coaching when I found out that my grandpa had passed, and that was big for me. I'm like, hey, y'all, we about to win this game, about to do this. I'm not taking off yet because we got games this week, but I will,
Take that
reschedule some
time.
stuff later on. Yeah, and I'm gonna let them know, and it's like, hey, nothing we need to talk about because that's not me. I'm not a oversharer,
Right.
but just say, hey, let y'all know I'm going through it today, but we got this game coming up, so we're gonna handle that. We're gonna knock this out, and then we're gonna do that. And I feel like being an example of that, showing them, hey, just because she going through a bad thing or tough time, don't mean she can disregard her obligations. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like of course, everybody's not gonna pick it up. Of course, everybody's not gonna appreciate it at the time. But because even some of the knucklehead ones I was dealing with, they're the ones who actually hitting me up now, like, "Hey, remember?" Those are the ones who like,
Right, right.
"Okay." Sometimes it takes a minute for people to understand. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they became better with that. They became a little bit more mentally tough. They actually um, cared about the people. They cared about more, rather they cared about the person for a person. They cared that they knew that they didn't want to let anybody else down. Whatever the reason was, that they liked the person. Now they started to feel that, you know what, people were relying on me, and just because mentally I'm not here right now, I can't just give up. But they also at the same time understood that I cannot pour from an empty glass. So
Mm,
they made sure they had their own. We had sometimes we'll have weight room and everything. We're like, okay, coach, can we do yoga today? Because can we meditate or after yoga, hey, can we meditate for a little bit? And it started to become less mandatory things and more like,
I
hey, do
love
you mind if
it.
we just do this and sometimes I say yes, sometimes I'm like, nah, we gotta get the weight room, we gotta, it
Yeah.
all depends.
But
But
you open up that door and you
yeah,
allow that space for them to be able to say and ask, is it okay to do
yeah,
the yoga? Is it okay to meditate? Where
mm-hmm,
some places you're scared to ask the coach because the coach is so written on sports, 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 practice, practice,
mm-hmm,
practice, defense, defense, that they never get that opportunity. And that's
yeah,
one of the major things with me stepping in, being a sports mental health coach is helping our young athletes and definitely our coaches focus on giving them that time. Open that opportunity to just talk and expose because it's gonna make you better. Sometimes you can have a teammate that's struggling and nobody knows because we haven't
mm-hmm,
gave them that opportunity to talk. And you
mm-hmm,
get in. I was that one with a player growing up, and you're like, hey, you're not playing at your top level. But you don't know, like you said, their grandpa, their grandparent just passed. They're not
mm-hmm,
eating at home. They got abuse going on at home. So yeah, that day they just came to school or came to the game with abuse just left home. So
mm-hmm,
they're not able to get to that level. But if you ever just sit down and just say, okay, you guys, we're gonna go around the room and just say, how are things going? That
mm-hmm,
doesn't mean that coach, she's gonna say something the first 3 or 4 times. But as you continue to allow that space, those things will change.
yeah.
And now you open up that communication on it. So, like you said, it's some things that because they're youth, they still young mind, they kids. Let me see, can I get away with this? I'm gonna tell coach I need a
Mhm.
mental health day because I'm trying to go to the club.
Mhm.
That's the point where you as a coach, like, girl, I know what you're doing. Been I done, I did it. Now you coming
Been
today.
there, done it, did that better. Did it
Right.
better.
We got a game on it. So it's just so
Mhm.
important to have that boundary line. And I'm thankful for you because you have having that mental health background as well and bringing it into the schools makes just such more detail and much value that Talladega is getting with you to explore those things. So
Mhm.
with that, like what are some things that you got coming up or that you got coming up for the school? I know I seen some of those amazing pictures that you have. So
Yes, of course. With my esports team, we're taking off. We got invited to a pretty big technology conference, which is the Infocom in Orlando, in mid June. So we're really excited for that. We're the only HBCU who was invited for that for the esports. So we're
did
really
y'all hear that
excited.
though? She not gonna run past that. Now I gotta jump in. My soul right now about to run past that. The only
Oh.
period. All the HBC sister.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're really excited about that. We are starting a collegiate 4-H on our campus.
Mm.
Is it head, heart, health, so another H. But we're really gonna start partnering with our mental health counselors on campus to try to get some more things out there for that, because as you may know, like under 4-H falls like crocheting and things like that. All those can be therapeutic in itself. So we're gonna start to partner with other stakeholders on campus, other
That's
colleagues
good.
on campus and other areas, so that we can just, again, my goal is I just want some well-rounded students. Majority
Yes.
of our students, of course, being on HBCU campus, are African American, come from low income. I'm a first generation. Most of our students are first generation, and just exposing them to, like, hey, we can be a safe space here, but we're gonna prepare you for what's out there. You know,
Yeah.
you can be safe here, you can be comfortable here, but we preparing you for what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Once you step past these doors.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for all those things. We are also I'm real Collegiate 100, which is a subgroup from 100 Black Men of America. We're starting to, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. Is they're pretty big in Birmingham and Atlanta.
Yeah.
Um, so they have a subgroup, and we're gonna have one of our on our campus. It's a mentorship program. 100 Black Men of America are only for men, but luckily
Mm-hmm.
the collegiate version is for men and women. So really, to me, as you may know, it's not always what you know, it's who you know,
Who you
and
know?
having the
Yeah, that's
and
that's some
having
good
those
information. Y'all better plug in on that at Talladega. Like, yeah, because I didn't know
that
that.
message,
You giving me
because
new information. I didn't know it was for men and women. So good one. Mm-hmm.
so I'm really excited about that. Just being able to put mentors in those, either their fields or just in areas in general. Because every mentor you have doesn't have to be in your field. Sometimes it's good to have another voice of reason around you.
Yeah.
So we can put those students in front of some good Black mentors, people who look like them. So those are just a few things that we're getting ready to do coming up. Ideally, join another business association will be under me as well, similar to DECA, where they're able to hopefully learn how to uh, was it like do mock investments and things like that. So
Oh
just
wow.
trying to, again, have our students to be as well rounded as possible.
That
Just to
is.
shout out one of my like, just to shout out one of my old players. She's actually on the chess team too. She has a hair care line, and that's a big reason why my hair is luscious as
Go
it is.
ahead.
But
Yes.
she's actually about to be a junior next semester, and she's opening her own hair salon in Atlanta. So just
Yeah.
again, like things that I try to support her as much as possible, and just really
We
pushing
will
the
see you
students.
on here. So sis, just know we coming. She's gonna get you on here. Let's go.
Because
Highlight.
she's the next, I'm telling you, she up
Yeah.
next for sure. But just things like, again, trying to just me trying to individually pour into them, and try to, and then professionally just try to get any program that's possible, any partnerships as possible to help our students.
Oh,
And
girl, you.
it's a small campus, girl, so
Yeah.
everybody trying to help.
And that's good. Sometimes, people look at these schools and want to go to these bigger schools, but like I said, it's a small campus, which means for the ones that want to, your voice and your name, you can be seen, you can be heard if that's something that you want. Myself, I was able to go to the PWI and HBCU, so I had the pleasure of that. But truthfully, in between graduate psychology and all that, UAB, my best work and knowledge came from Lawson State Community College.
All right,
Go Google it.
Lawson. Yeah.
Like I tell people all the time, and my students within my nonprofit, when I'm telling them, "Hey, you guys, we want to go here. I want you guys to look at college." College, Coach Perry. I know at the point when you're up on your parents' house, you just ready to leave. You just ready to leave. You ready to go. I understand. I went through that. Had a lot of stuff going on at home, so I had to get out the house. But also for the ones that don't enjoy that time, learn from that small place. I mean, my Lawson State College, boy, those professors pushed me. They had me second guessing everything I did, but in a positive way. So when I went to UAB and everything, it was a splash. It was where some of the UAB professors, I was like, this ain't right. I don't think you did
Mhm.
this right, because I
Mhm.
learned so much. So it's okay. It's okay to start off small and grow, because guess what? Your journey is your journey, and what God has for you is for you, regardless of what you do. So definitely want to make sure of that. Yes, sis. We want to make sure
Mhm.
you guys know that. And last but not least, for
Mhm.
you, for young adult that's getting ready to come out and go to college, and we're gonna just say a student athlete, because even with the things that you're doing, an athlete, what should they be preparing for right now, or what should their thoughts? Because school is letting out and a new cycle is about to begin in the fall. What are some words of encouragement you want to leave them with?
My big everybody knows is on my it was on my graduation cap. It is trust the process, enjoy the journey.
Mm.
Trust, so walk in faith, move in faith, but that process is you have to put in that work. So that trust, that process, and then enjoy the journey. It's about balance. It's about enjoying the people who are around you, accepting all the emotions that you go through, and enjoy yourself. Enjoy what's happening, because you will never be in the same position as you are in that moment. So that's just big for me. I didn't learn that till later on in life. I was always worried about what's next, what's next, what's next, what's next. And I'm finally in a point in my life where I'm just happy and excited about what's happening now. So I feel like if I would have had that going into college, I would have enjoyed and took in more lessons that I didn't need to relearn. Because
Oh,
so
yes.
I feel like that's it. Trust the process, enjoy the journey. That's it.
Enjoy it, you guys. Enjoy. You see it here. She came in, sis told you how she climbed that ladder. So enjoy the process, and again, know what's for you is for you. I thank you so much for blessing us on this stage. We are so thankful, and I know they're going to be more to come with this. So please, please know that we are here to uplift, empower, and encourage our youth and young adults, especially in that field of athletes, and understanding that you got to have the right and positive mindset. So get around the right people and the right things that are going to continue to elevate you to that next level. But always don't just talk about it, go do it. Y'all have a good one.